Mitch Dyer,
Yes, sir.
let's say you worked at IGN for 19 years.
Yeah.
But you hadn't written an article in like the last 5 years. What would you do with yourself all day?
Play a lot of Dota 2.
I knew you'd
Like
say
most Valve employees probably do.
that. So Mark Laidlaw, who's another name you may or may not know if you're a crotchety old bastard like me, you definitely know that name. He's one of the basically original members of Valve. He was the full-time writer employed at Valve since 1997. He wrote Half-Life. He wrote Half-Life 2.
I think he helped on Portal a bit with Eric and Chet.
Yeah. But he did not explicitly write that game.
Right.
So Mark Laidlaw has left Valve. He said he did issue a statement, and including saying, "My nickname when I first started at Valve in 1997 was Old Man Laidlaw. The little baby level designer who gave me that nickname is now older than I was then." So
That's how time works, though. I don't really get that statement.
he's just saying he's been there forever. That's his point.
He was the old man back in '97, and now
the
20
baby
years
is an
later,
old
the kid
man.
who called him the old man is
Is
older
the
than
old man.
than he was then.
I like that Destin said that's how time worked, and then we explained to Destin how time
We
works.
mansplained time.
I still
we just
get it.
mansplained time to Dustin.
I still get it.
Lana's
So
not
the
gonna be
other
happy
kid
with us.
was always older than him. So yeah, time went by and he's still
Man,
older.
Look at my life.
Anyway,
I'm a lot like you.
he's saying he's old. Yeah, got it.
So Mark Laidlaw, they've traded places, Destin. Mark Laidlaw is now the young
Somehow
kid.
the other guy.
No,
is
it's a Freaky
faster than-
Friday scenario.
Which one's Jamie Lee Curtis? I don't understand.
Give Noel.
Oh, that makes sense. So yeah, he's left Valve, but I mean, is it really a surprise that they haven't released anything with a script, anything narrative based since Portal, and he didn't really Portal 2?
Dota 2
Shut up
has
about Dota.
Shut up your
extensive-
face
Shut up.
hole.
Shut up about Dota.
There's no narrative.
It's got extensive deep lore.
You nerd.
Maybe that's what he wrote.
When Razor's not in the narrow maze, who's monitoring who can and can't come back? Not Vistage. He's also not in the narrow maze like he should be
Is that a
patrolling.
sex thing?
I gotta go, guys. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the show's over.
So I feel like I bet a lot of things with scripts existed inside the walls of Valve. Things
bet
that
you're
maybe
right.
he
Dota-
probably worked on and that like Clint Hawking worked on.
I'm sure he worked on a bunch of VR stuff that's coming.
Or
like
maybe
their
he was writing
demos.
that Dota 2 crap Mitch was just spouting off, and he's like, I gotta go.
Yeah, I mean,
I
is
can't
there a
do this anymore.
writer on Dota?
No,
Like, who writes
there's
that
a
stuff?
lot. Greg Kasavin wrote on Dota. Like they
Oh,
have.
really? Oh,
there's-
really?
Yeah, he wrote all the lore for Magnus.
Oh, Magnus.
He's one of the heroes. He's a big horn man. But it has a bunch of people writing on it.
But serious question: what do you think? What do you think Mark Laidlaw did all day for the last like?
I'm sure there's plenty of
Years.
things they have
I would
for him to do.
imagine because just
And
the-
I'm not trying to insult the guy. I'm
of
literally
course.
just like, if he's a writer, and they haven't shipped games that have had stories.
So everyone at Valve wears multiple hats. Like when you go there, Valve is kind of the place where like experienced game devs go to retire because you have been in the industry for so long, you've acquired all these skills. Basically, like creative directors and studio heads.
No, Ma, he's my dog. I'll do it.
Will leave their like where they've been forever, and they will go to Valve, and that's where they go and do literally anything they want. So you can go there as a creative director and become like a level designer, and that's fine. Or you'll be an artist, or you'll be a programmer, or you'll be a guy who works at the International, whatever. Like everyone wears multiple hats. So this guy who wrote Half-Life 2, who wrote all these games, has probably done other stuff behind the scenes. Like he probably worked pretty heavily with the VR team. He probably worked on TI. He probably worked on a lot of TF2, Left 4 Dead, and he like just didn't get big credit for it.
Yeah.
I would imagine he was pretty deeply involved in everything Valve has done and has been doing and stuff that is coming.
Yeah.
But we just don't know it because it's not like Valve doesn't do credit very well. Like it's not like, oh, this was all Mark. At least not lately.
That's true. I mean, even in the Half-Life credits, it's not written by Mark Laidlaw. It's all the developers listed in the credit just alphabetically. Yeah. So they don't even break it down
Right,
by...
because everyone does so much. So it's possible that, like, I don't know, maybe Mark is, like, primarily a writer, but has a knack for programming and was coding Left 4 Dead stuff for a while.
So I don't know about you guys.
TF2.
I haven't been holding out any hope for Half-Life 3, but I think Laidlaw leaving Valve puts the nail in the coffin. That game's never happening, or at least not under the current, not at Valve. I think if somebody makes it, it's going to be another developer that Valve just works with.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I optimistically also want to say like maybe his script is done. Like maybe maybe he
possible.
finished and he's like I'm not gonna write more of this. I'm good. I am happy with where this script is, and then y'all can just figure it out when you make a game.
My last gasp of hope for Half-Life 3 was I thought maybe Valve would use it as a killer app for Vive as a VR game.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
we've played 2 really cool Valve-produced demos for Vive, one for Portal and one for Dota.
Dota 2.
And both are really cool, but those were like small, sort of like 5-minute.
What
What was
the
that,
Portal
Marty?
thing?
What was that, Marty?
What?
Dota 2 thing was really cool.
The Dota 2 thing is really cool, and I think
really
that
cool.
game's a dumb game for dumb babies. Like
Yeah, that's fun.
The Portal 2 thing is you are in a room in Aperture Science, and you're sort of interacting with a bunch of... The way Vive works is it's a 3D space, so there's cameras
there's-
in both
yeah.
corners of the room, so you're able to physically walk around a space, and you're there's a voice talking to you, giving you commands, and you're interacting with stuff, and it's funny in the exact Portal way.
Yeah.
Like you open a drawer and there's all these like little people walking around, and it talks about, oh, you're now a god of their society. And the guy's like, now please close the drawer. You close the drawer and you just hear them all screaming. They're like,
You're
ended
like
their
an
race.
incinerator.
Yeah, no, you have ended their race. You open a door and Atlas comes in and starts sparking. You fix something and Gladys comes in at the end.
Yeah,
and
like
so-
the big punchline for how cool the VR part is like Atlas. Is it Atlas? Or
Atlas is the fat
he's
little
the fat one?
little dude.
Yeah, so like you have to hold open a door and he comes in, it's cool, but then you have to repair him, and like his eye comes out and he just kind of extends into this like giant floating piece, like hundreds of pieces of metal and material,
Yeah. And
you
you're
can, like,
walking around in a 3D space.
and you can
you're
like twist it and turn
yeah.
it, and you're like trying to put pieces back together on a timer, and it's like this
I
hilarious
100.
thing.
I'm now picturing Portal's aesthetic, and
Yeah.
I 100% want to play a real, like a made for VR Portal game.
Everyone would vomit forever.
I don't
When you
care.
get into those infinite loops.
Oh my god!
Just keep a trash can next to you. It's
Perfect.
fine.
It's got that front-facing camera now. You can
It
find
was
your
also
barf
cool because
bucket.
at the end Gladys comes, and until then I didn't realize how big Gladys is supposed to be, and she's terrifyingly huge.
Yeah.
Like she's like a T-Rex. Yeah, I've never seen a T-Rex before, but I'm assuming
Or
they're
where'd you
large.
play this?
G-Rex.
Did you play this or see this?
I played it at PAX with Mitch.
Yep.
And then it was at CES. Alana played it.
Oh, that sounds
And
really
I watched her
cool.
play it and laughed at her because she got scared when Atlas shot sparks in her face.
Anyway, yeah, Mark Laidlaw leaving Valve.
He's also, I
Leslie
just looked it
Benzies.
up. He's like a renowned sci-fi fiction writer.
He is,
So he's
yeah,
probably just
yeah.
gonna write some cool books.
But
and
that's his
stories.
thing. He's retired to write books.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like books.
That's a good life.
Leaving them
What if
games
Half-Life
behind.
3 is just a book? That'd be fine.
That would
I
be
would
the
take
most
it.
epic troll
I would take it.
in the
Yeah.
history
Just-
of the video game
Every
industry.
time Gordon Freeman speaks, just ...
Half-Life 3 is never coming out.
Yeah,
You're
that's
wrong.
not a video game.
It's coming out this year.